Welcome back to The Explainer. So, if you're the kind of learner who really values cutting through the noise to get straight to the absolute core of an issue, well, you're in exactly the right place today. We're going to unpack a brilliantly direct essay by the philosopher Xu Feng, written back in early 2021. It's called Facts Are the Best Judges. And it tackles something I think we all struggle with, right? Navigating a world that is just overflowing with endless claims, elaborate theories, and deeply persuasive language. Xu Feng argues for this radical, uncompromising return to tangible proof. We're going to explore his ultimate measure of truth and see exactly why he believes that relying on anything other than hard facts isn't just foolish, it's actually a complete failure of basic human morality. Let's dive right in. So, how do we actually separate beautiful lies from the absolute truth? Just think about how often you're bombarded with empty promises. Seriously, whether it's scrolling through the media, listening to self-proclaimed experts, or honestly, even just in everyday conversations. People are incredibly skilled at crafting narratives that sound deeply, deeply convincing. They use big words, heavy emotional appeals, complex logic, the whole shebang. But how do we cut through that static? How do we protect ourselves from just being completely misled by a really well-spoken illusion? Well, this is the exact modern dilemma that Xu Feng addresses. He gives us a razor-sharp tool to instantly separate reality from pure rhetoric. Xu Feng's core thesis is absolutely uncompromising. He states, and I quote, "No matter how charming, how beautiful, or how extravagantly colorful your words may be, they are worthless. Let them be confirmed by facts." This right here sets the stakes for everything we're exploring today. He's completely stripping away all the value we traditionally assign to eloquence and persuasion. Listen, it doesn't matter if a speech literally brings you to tears, or if a theory is presented with stunning, colorful rhetoric. If it's just floating in the air without a foundation, Xu Feng argues it has a value of zero. The only currency that actually matters, the only thing that gives words their weight, is factual confirmation. Section 1. The value of words. Empty promises versus hard reality. Let's break down exactly why beautiful language essentially turns into a trap if it lacks substance. When we look at this divide, theories or preaching on one side and hard facts on the other, Xu Feng's position is that these two simply cannot exist independently if you want to be taken seriously. Any theory, any preaching that sits completely unsupported by facts is just not credible. He states very clearly that any conclusive discourse lacking factual verification is completely irrational. Look, it doesn't matter how long a theory has been around or how many millions of people preach it. If it can't cross the line and anchor itself in hard facts, it absolutely must be dismissed. Section 2. The trap of sophistry. The danger of unproven theories. You know, when people are pushed for facts and they simply don't have them, they rarely just admit defeat. Instead, they fall into these really specific intellectual traps. According to Xu Feng's framework, if you're faced with facts, but you try to cover them up in every possible way, finding all kinds of excuses, arguing endlessly, you are resorting to sophistry. You're basically trying to mask this gaping hole where your evidence should be. The text points out that doing this makes a person completely unreasonable. Have you ever argued with someone who just keeps spinning brand new excuses when their original point is proven wrong? Yeah, that is sophistry in action. It's the ultimate defense mechanism for the factless, and he warns us to be hypervigilant against it. Xu Feng presents this brilliant logical dead end. He says you cannot prove a theory with another theory, just as a lie cannot prove itself not a lie by still another lie. It's like trying to build a house of cards. You can't build a stable foundation by just stacking more flimsy cards on top of each other. Xu Feng actually pushes this even further, noting that theories proven unworkable, even those found in revered so-called classic texts, must be recognized as fabrications. You can't validate a questionable idea just by quoting another unverified doctrine. The only way to prove rationality and correctness is to step outside the realm of theory entirely and just show the facts. Section 3. Show us the facts, the real-world test. Now let's move from lofty philosophy to how Xu Feng applies this in a highly specific, honestly kind of humorous way, using the simple if and then rhythm. Let's say someone claims, I can grow a 200-kilogram Chinese cabbage. The required fact? Well, do it. Show us the cabbage. You don't need a 10-page academic essay on agricultural theory. Just bring out the giant vegetable. Or if someone claims to be a Buddhist master, the required fact is to educate a Buddha and let us actually see the result. If your theories and preaching are real, they absolutely must produce a tangible, verifiable outcome. If the facts can't prove that you're right, then all your preaching is entirely false. It's wonderfully straightforward, isn't it? Section 4. True test of character. Judging real talent. This demand for facts doesn't just apply to giant cabbages, it applies deeply to human character too. Let's say someone claims to be a master of traditional Chinese culture and proficient in its teachings. Okay, how do we test that? Well, we don't ask them to recite poetry, we demand the facts of their life. Do they show respect for their parents? Is there harmony between them and their spouse? What about harmony in their neighborhood? Is there filial piety in their children? These specific, tangible, day-to-day behaviors are literally the only way to verify true cultural connotation. If their own home is in chaos, their claim to cultural mastery is just an illusion, regardless of how beautifully they might speak about it. To verify real talents, do not listen to what is said, but see what is being done. Xu Feng reminds us that it is incredibly easy to speak big, beautiful words, but unless those words are actually put into practice, they're nothing more than catchphrases. Actually, it's worse. They're a form of self-deception. If you want to know if a person has real talent, real depth, and if they actually live up to their own hype, you have to completely tune out their dialogue and strictly observe their actions. What are they doing? What have they actually done? Section 5. A basic human morality. The ultimate conclusion. And here we reach a really profound ethical conclusion. Respecting facts is the basic morality of a human being. Just think about the sheer weight of that statement. For Xu Feng, demanding facts isn't just some clever debate tactic, it isn't just a scientific method or a logical preference. It's a fundamental moral duty. When you abandon facts to support unworkable theories, or when you use sophistry to hide the truth, you aren't just making a logical error, you're failing a basic ethical standard. To verify if any doctrine is reasonable, legal, and conforms to human nature, we just have to let the facts speak. Without them, as the text says, it's all just nonsense. So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. Next time you hear beautiful words, will you wait for the facts to speak? As we navigate this world full of stunning rhetoric and deeply convincing sophistry, Xu Feng's essay serves as this incredibly powerful grounding mechanism. Remember the cabbage. Remember the checklist of character. Don't be swayed by the extravagant colors of a persuasive argument. Demand the facts, because facts are, for sure, the best judges. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep seeking the truth, and I'll catch you next time.